Hey guys, this is Zetsway from ShiGig coming at you. So today I'm coming at you with part 2 of how to prepare for team leagues. This will be specified for 2015's team leagues. So these will be using decks for the team leagues, like which 3 best decks would be good to take. I'll be telling you which decks during which time period. For example, if you're for which product releases, like for the between. If your team leagues are between April 18th through May 21st, that would be, what products you can use to try and what decks you can bring. Like for example, like the Aquaforce or in the Deep Police Extra Booster. You will have the Aquaforce trial deck, and you will have Deep Police and the Extra Booster. And then if like May 22nd through June 18th, you will have the Aquaforce trial deck, the Deep Police Extra Booster, the Cardfight Vanguard G Booster 2. June 19 and above, you will have Aquaforce, the Police Extra Booster, Cardfight Vanguard G Booster 2, Fires Collection 2015, Shadow Paladin Legendary Deck, and Link Joker Trial Deck. And depending what else gets announced after June 19th, you will have that. So I'll go ahead and tell you what in my opinion, would be the best decks during that time. So for those who will have their team leagues between April 18th and May 21st will be North America, USA, California will be April 18th. North America, Canada, Ontario, May 2nd. North America, USA, Georgia, May 16th. Europe, Greece, Athens, April 19th. Europe again, Germany, Berlin, May 16th. Asia, Indonesia, Jakarta, May 16th. So those are, if you guys probably already do know when your team leagues are, I'm just listing off who it is, so that way, if you know, if that's you, so that way you know what you can use. I'll probably put a cutscene between each, so that way, if you don't know which dates I'm talking about, you can go and take a look on that cutscenes. This will help you, so you know what you will have available, depending on what time your team leagues are. And I also will be including the Continental for USA because those dates have been released, and I'll be using what's information out. Making this on April 4th, so this is using the information that's pretty much given to us right now. I wasn't able to put all the G units since you can only use 8 G units in card fight area, so you guys won't be able to see all of them. But I'll try and talk about them, and I'll only be using what the information's been given out. So first off, for me, what I think the top decks you should bring, for sure, you should have Thing Saver, Automil, and then you should be use the G unit, Divine Sacred Dragon, Saint Bullet Dragon. Like this is one of the top ones right now. You should that one's one of the main ones you should definitely have if you want to play competitively. If you want to go in competitive and try and get your best shot to win, that definitely should be on your team. So I'm gonna leave that on damage zone so you guys can see that. And then as for the other deck that should definitely be on your team during this time period, should be the Cross. Really good, counters a lot of stuff, comboed with the Kagero Stride, so you should have that. And the deck would still be good even after like Cardfight Vanguard G BTO2 will be out, and the other stuff that still will be good. You can retire, restand, and stuff. Same things every you can restand twice if you know how to play it right. Just really good, consistent decks. They're topping right now. So for those who are April 18th through May 21st, the places I listed off, you will want to have these 2 decks in your main team for team leagues. You'll want to have these for sure if you want to play competitively. So those one to talk about them. Think Saver. You can easily get the units you need. You can superior call them, especially with that new Jewel Knight card. I can't remember the name of the new dog. Came as a promo. That will really help you. And also you'll be able to keep calling, and this will help you get back the units your opponent if he's playing the cross will retire, so that way you can get them back. So that way you can try and keep up. Really good, still get a lot of support. Has a stride unit that gets crit, so you can stride. You can really just really consistent. As for the cross, again, restand, retire a lot of units for one counterblast. You can retire and discard and copy of the cross. You can retire 2 units, while for Royal Paladins, for one counterblast, you can probably get 1 unit. And also, even if your opponent has effects that have like resist, Imperial Flame Dragon King Root Flare Dragon can get rid of those, because if you read his effect, it says if the number of face-up cards in your G zone is 2 or more, choose one of your opponent's root guards and retire all your opponent's root guards in the same column of that unit. This ability can be used for the rest of the turn. So basically, if your opponent has like 2 units, and let's say one of them was resist, all you do is target the other one, and you still retire the one with you resist, because you didn't choose that unit. You just choose another one in the same column and retires it. It doesn't say choose all your opponent's root guards in the same column. It says retire all of it. So if it said choose, it wouldn't work. But with this, you can get past that. So that's one way to talk about how the cross would still be good for a while. As for the third deck, you have a lot of choices. Since the earliest one would be April 18th for California, USA, which would be the team leagues for me, for where I live. The best one for you to bring, the best ones you can bring, will be OTT. Put them on the field and the hand so you guys can see them, because there's different builds you can bring. So it'll be OTT, Gear Chronicle, Shadow Paladin, Abyss will still be good. Maidens and Musketeers will still be good. It won't have all the G unit, but you can still play that. It'll be decent. Actually, I'll put this to the top, so this way I'll talk about that one, because it's not like the best rogue deck to bring it with you. Riser, not the Risers, but the Nova Grappers would still be good. Other stuff will be out that would be pretty decent or really competitive. Would pretty much be those ones. I'll talk about the other ones, the rogues you can also bring it during that time if you don't have these ones. The main ones you would probably want will probably be the Abyss, Creo Chronicle, and OTT, and Nova Grapplers. Those are probably the ones you want to have as your third one. Because Gear Chronicle can shuffle cards, can send back your opponent's regards to the bottom of the deck, so it stops them from legioning, so it kind of hurts the cross, I guess. A little bit, but you can still get Legion off real quickly for the cross. And also you have the guard restrictions, so it's pretty nice. OTT creates that hand size. You have 2 main builds right now. Is Coco Susano and Tsukiyomi Susano. I prefer the Coco because it's a lot more solid pluses, while Tsukiyomi, you do get that 5-card stack in the right chain, but if you miss that, you're taking the risk of missing your Rise Chain, and then if you do end up riding Tsukiyomi, you're going to have a 9-case Vanguard, and your opponent will abuse the shit out of you. Sorry, but that'll be the truth, because your opponent can really easily just hit you real easily with that 9k boost. You can make the Cross can easily make 19k comms, Sing Saber can easily make 19k comms, Gear Chronicle can make 19k comms and stuff, and you'll be having a trouble. So that's one way. I like Coco, even though it's a 10k base, it does attack for that 13 when you have no cards in your soul. So with that, you can attack for 13, and you're going to play 8k boosters, a lot of them, because you're going to mainly try to get as much as you can out of Tom, so you can easily hit for 21 columns with the Vanguard. And then when you ride her, you get to draw 2, and you get to draw 1 off the starter. So if you're playing the starter, that's the last one you ride your grade 3, which you're supposed to play with Coco. So you get to draw 3 if you don't ride Susano, so that's really nice. And then even if you do ride Susano, you would still get a draw off of that. It's a lot, and then because you're going to be stacking cards, and it's a lot better than risking missing your ride chain. Because I've been playtesting, and the ride chain, you don't always hit it. If you're going to go to a tournament, risking ride chain and risking to be 9k base is not something you want to do. you want to try and play safe. You want to be consistent. As for Biss, it's just really good. It hits better than a Nova Grapper Stride unit, which is, see, I should put him in here. Yep. Him. And the OTT should be in here too. Just helps you. It hits harder than that one because you do have the double drive check. Because Victor does get Meteor Kaiser, Victor Plasma does get his drive checks reduced to 2. So, but Abyss, you would have 2, and then you would be hitting for like 32 base when you break ride. So that's a lot better than just hitting for 26 base usually with Victor. You do get that restands, but you just get more power. You just get more power off that, and also now that we have the Cray Elemental Stride units, which help out a lot with your other rogue decks and stuff, it just helps you. Instead of just having to sit on Mordred while you wait till you can get to Limit Break, you can keep discarding Mordreds and your other grade 3s, so that way you can stride and keep putting pressure until you get to grade 4, until you get damage 4, and then you break ride and you finish the game. So it's just really good, and you still see it topping in OCG right now. Other than that would be, and here's Gear Chronicle Stride unit if you guys haven't seen it. For Gear Chronicle there, you get a restriction, got a crit, so it's really nice if your opponent doesn't have a perfect guard. You also get that restriction with Chrono Jet for grade 1s, and you Ragnar Clock with grade 0s, and then you got OTT getting that check top 4, adding 2 cards to your hand, so you can add. Problem with that is sometimes you don't always get what you need. So those are kind of units that are good. Victors, again, they can stand up. And then a lot of people play the Risers, so that way you can get that crit. And some play Cat Butler. With that, it's okay, but I would rather prefer just try and play Victor and use the units you got, because you do have pretty good units for the Victor deck or Extreme Battler deck. So those are those ones. Let's just make my Vanguard Legion so you guys can still see that. So I'll put that like that so you guys can still see. So again, you still want to have these two as your main, Think Saver and Kagero the Cross. You want to have those as your main decks. So those are the ones that you mainly would want as your third team member to play. Other ones that are optional that are pretty nice that would still work would be, let's see, since April 18th is the day after the DP Extra Boost comes out, that's a pretty good one too. You do get hand power like OTT. You do have the guard restrictions like your Chronicle, and you do have the access to World and Restand, so it's pretty nice. Only problem is against Kagero, you can easily screw up your field because they have to have a lot of setup to get the effect. They have to get those power boosts, those other cards. It's still a good deck, but that's one card that it tops at locals, and OCG doesn't top tournaments really. But it's still a good deck to try. Other decks would be that'll be coming around from April 18th and May 21st. Would be, because 22nd would be when you get BT2, so it's in another category. Would be Yggdrasil. So Genesis, if you're a Genesis player, these are good ones too. I like to play Yggdrasil and Nyx. It's just more consistent, a little bit more, keeps yourself alive with the Legion, getting that crit and draw, and keeping your hand size. Well, Minerva is good for late game for push, but I just prefer Nyx and Yggdrasil. This is okay. It's not bad. It just helps you rush your opponent. It's still a really competitive deck, and it's very nice. Still tops them. So that's a good option too, if you want to try that. Another one would be, sorry, I'm trying to go through my list here. Another one, a decent one for if Rogue, would be Spike Brothers, because they do have that one push. It's not the best, but it's a decent one. It has it allows you to push your opponent real easily. if you get the rush and if you know how to play Spike Brothers good. I don't really recommend it the best, but it's pretty decent. Another one would be Blaster Joker. Blaster Joker is okay against the Cross because you can lock their units and you can break their Legion, so they would have to re-Legion again. But one thing you would have to worry about, because you would retire, it makes it easier for the Cross players to just rewrite their Legion, because that's what they usually do, and they can set it without having to Soul Blast, so it just makes it easier for them. But that's one thing that's not bad. And also if your opponent has a third team member that's playing Abyss, but Abyss is just going to do that effect for one turn, so it's not going to really hurt them. So that's one thing that could be played, and also counteracts other rogue decks that may be playing Legion still. Other decks that aren't bad are Nawatama's okay, because you can hit the crosses out of your opponent's hand, but then they get access to Burnout and Legion again. And then Musketeer build, not bad. You get the pluses, and you can try and survive after getting retired by Kagro, so it's not a bad one to play too if you're a Neil Nectar fan. And it also gets the support, so I'm going to put that damage on so I can talk about that later. So that's one of the ones bad. But again, the main two you want to have is Thingsaver, the Cross. This video is probably going to go long, so I'm just trying to explain all the decks and trying to tell you what would be the best. And then again, just the ones I stated before, the first ones were probably the best ones to run as your third one. These are just the ones that you could run that would be pretty decent if you just couldn't get the other decks that I suggested for the main ones. That's pretty much covers the cards out for right now for April 18th through May 21st for those guys. The next one would be next set would be May 22nd through June 18th. For those, you would have Aquaforce Trial Deck, the Deep Police Extra Booster, and Card for the Vanguard G BTO2. So those who have their team leagues during those are in Asia, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. Sorry if I butchered that, or messed that pronunciation up, but that's at May 30th. Asia, Philippines, Manila, June 6th. North America, USA, Texas, May 23rd. North America, USA, New York, June 13th. So these guys, you guys got the more boosters, so you have more stuff to play. So that really changes what you would want to have for there, and it makes it more definite what you want to have for your third team member for sure, like what you really would want to have. So that way, you won't have all these options for your third team, but you would have a more definite one you would want to play. So of course, you still want to have these guys as you main for sure, but you also will want to have Aquaforce. Where is it? Did not get put in. Okay, so I had Glory Maelstrom in here too, but I guess it didn't stay in the deck when I was saving it. But these are the three you would want. You would want to have Thingsaver, the Cross, and Aquaforce as your main three. Those would be your main ones you would want to have for sure. Because Aquaforce gets those multiple attacks. If you're playing against the Cross, just keep the units in your hand. From what I've learned to play, as you may play like a column and rush there, keep them in your hand, and then when you're ready to go for game, you would just and go use Savas. You would just call him, call the card. Stride the Savas, call your units, go with Savas' effect and stuff, and press for game. And then Bright Glory Maelstrom, if you have it, and the crit in your hand. The crit's effect was, I think its name was Disdain, and Distania or something like that. I can't remember the correct name of it, but its effect is if this card boosts a Maelstrom unit, your opponent cannot guard with grade 0s. And at the end of the battle, this unit goes back to the deck. Glory Maelstrom skill is when this unit attacks, counterblast 1, this unit gains 5,000 power, and your opponent cannot guard with grade 1s or higher, so that pretty much stops your opponent from guarding at all, so it means he can't use grade 0s and higher. So that's nothing he can guard with. He can only intercept, and you could probably take out the intercepts pretty easily. So even if he still had his intercepts, if they're not playing the special interceptors, then he would only be able to guard for one trigger, and that would be, and then if you hit that, that's game. So that's a good finisher. Savas is really good. You still have that retiring with Savas effect, really nice. So these are the three that you for sure would want to have if you can get for the best competitive deck for team leagues. If you can't get Savas, another third option opens up with the release of the GB Card for Vanguard G Booster 2. Other cards that open up is you have for your third would be Great Nature. Great Nature with all those powers up. Again, it's like Nova Grapplers, we have to have the setup and it's easy to get over. See if I can get this into the Guardian Circle so you guys can read its effect. They do have the Guardian Restrictors. They have a lot of draw power, a lot of power. So it's pretty nice. Unfortunately, they do have to have setup, so that's kind of the drawback with it. That's why it's a little bit. Aquaforce does have a setup, but it's so easy with the Aquaforce. You can just get your setup off 2 cards. Well, this you kind of have to have a few more cards and key cards too. It does have some units with resist, but Aquaforce just does it better and gets a lot more attacks and power boost. So it's a lot better than have a Great Nature. And I'm not seeing Great Nature top as much over there, so it's pretty nice. Let's see if I can get that damage on. Yeah. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, but that's one. And this pretty much just knocks out playing. This would knock out like playing Nova Grapplers or OTT pretty much from your team leagues. Your Chronicle will have more support. And we'll have Fate, which is actually pretty nice. I've tested it, and it's actually really nice, more than I thought it would be. So that's another one. I'll put Thing and the Cross down here, because these are the ones you would want to have in your deck. Of course, oops. Yeah. Of course, Maidens will also be getting the support. Neo Nectar would get their support, so these will also be good units. Shadow Paladin will still be good, especially with support coming up soon. So with the Maidens, you will be able to keep the pluses with that more consistently than with just the Trial deck and the Musketeer support. So with this, you can go ahead and make a deck that's pretty nice. So it's another option there. But main ones you would want would be Thing Saver, the Cross, Aquaforce. Other ones are good are Great Nature and Neo Nectar. Gear Chronicle will still be good. Abyss will still be good. One of the reasons OTT and Extreme Batter and Nova Grapplers will be going out is mostly because of the fact that Aquaforce can just pressure the hand of OTT out real fast, and maybe we can even just get you game before you even get your hand build up or you get to your stack real easily. Maidens can also get that huge power and just get your stack out of your big hand size gone pretty fast. Great Nature again has that guard restriction, so if you put a bunch of, let me take it, it's can't guard with grade 1 or higher, so if you have to have a lot of triggers in hand, and also you hit him for a lot of power, so it's easily get that stack in your hand, so that's one reason OTT falls out. Also, you can also put like Touch Drive, so Touch Drive kind of beats Victor, I guess, because you do get that withstanding, but it doesn't have as much power. It's not as good as Victor in terms of power and that, but it's just nicer that you can combo it more and you have more pressure with all those multiple attacks and stuff. So you kind of do the same thing, but for less than Nova Grapplers do, I guess. You could say. So with that, you would have those. Again, if you're not able to, you can still try with the other ones I suggested too, but you would also have access to the new Narukami support, which would also be a good choice. If I would say the top ones to put for your third choice would be mainly Aquaforce, Narukami, because they can actually they bind now. They will be binding, retiring, and binding, so that's a good one. And also, I would those are the main two I would suggest actually for those if you wanted to choose out of those ones. With the new fact that they retire and bind, it can hurt because if you have, I think I have them in the extra. Nope, I Here's Lambros, if you guys don't know about him yet. That's Lambros. He's just really good, made Aquaforce good this season. The other cards for D Police, I'll talk about that later once we get the Fighters Collection out, which will be the next segment. With this, being able to bind your opponent's units, there is a stride unit that when attack hits, retire one opponent's unit and bind 2 cards in their drop zone. With that, if you're playing against the cross, you can bind their dotes and their crosses that they hit Legion back that's in their drop zone. So that kind of hurts their decks from being able to get those Legion out. But also, if you're playing the cross, they probably got the greats, and that's one way to do it. And it's a good way to kind of fight against the cross. So that's one thing. Also, if your opponent has like Seeing Saber copies in the drop zone, you can bind those, and that way, if they won't have enough to go to a double restand with Seeing Saber, so that's pretty nice. Aquaforce, against Aquaforce, it's okay because you're going to be retiring the front row because of the fact that Aquaforce units will mostly have resist in the back row with Orphelia. You'll be able to retire the front row. Against Great Nurture, not really, because Great Nurture actually has the resist units are in the front row. I can't remember with Neonectar, but against Gear Chronicle, they would have trouble too because Gear Chronicle has the resist units with Ishin. I remember the name of that one, Ishin, that has resist in the front row. So that's the only one. So basically, it would probably be Gear Chronicle, Aquaforce, and Narukami. Narukami just got a lot of power boost, and bind mechanics is really nice. And it also has a critical effect and stuff. And then you also got Vermilion came back too, so that's not bad to splash into them. Another reason why OTT kind of went away is because you can bind your opponent's, you can retire and get their effects, and you get that big power boost. So that's one way to get rid of the OTT hand, and because it also has a decent matchup with the cross. But if you're smart, the cross player, it's not too hard because I faced the new Narukami deck, and I know how to deal with it. So it kind of is. It's still good, but it's just not as good as Aquaforce, in my opinion, and Gear Chronicle and stuff, because they do have that guard restrictions and they do have the power and effects that make it really strong. They're not as good as the Aquaforce actually is kind of good as the cross, and Seeing Sabers know how to play it right. That's those ones. So I'm going to put this guy over here because he's actually still really good. The Vermilion is just if you want to play an old one, and it's still really good. As for, that's pretty much it for that ones. You still have access to the other rogue decks I talked about, but at this point, I would say Seeing Saber, the Cross, and Aquaforce is what you want to play, mostly. And with the other ones I talked about, like Great Nature, Neonectars, Narukami, or Abyss, because Abyss would still actually be good because it's still topping right now, even though they have Fighters Collection. They have actually they don't have Fighters Collection, sorry, but they have the Cardfight Vanguard GBTO2. I'm sorry if I can't remember how they pronounce it there. That's a decent one. So it's pretty nice. As for when from people from June 19 and beyond, the only thing I can talk about is really the Fighter Collection, the Shop-Out Legend deck, and the Link Joker trial deck that has been announced. The cards that have been announced of April 4th, 2015, that has been announced so far that I know the best of, that I can tell you what to expect that would be decent. As for from Fighters Collection, cards that would actually be decent would be, I don't know how that got. This one wouldn't be bad. Whoa. Did not want that. Oh my. This one wouldn't be bad if you're playing Rogue and you just can't get to Aquaforce or the Cross of that. It's not bad because you can actually do the Omega World's End a lot easier. It's just a nice one that they kind of did. that we know the support came out. Lucky Air, if you're playing Pale Moon, it's not bad. There has been 2 cards to come out, so it's not bad ones to do, and also because it's the Lucky Air fanship, there's a lot of fans for Lucky Air and Pale Moon. It's a good one to do, and also it's decent to pick up the prices before they start rising, because they might get hyped up again like they did. I know they're still probably expensive. I haven't checked the prices really, because I already have my Lucky Airs, but it's pretty nice deck. It's still fun to play. It's a decent rogue deck to play. It can counter Kagura because you can superior call your units pretty easily. And then you can get power boosts, which can hurt OTT again a little bit. And you do have that new Lucky Air Stride, so it's pretty nice. So that's a nice one to play if you can, again, afford Aquaforce. Aquaforce is really cheap, so you should be able to get Aquaforce. Other ones would be the Shuros, the Namatamas, because they do hit your opponent's hand. Probably wouldn't be the best. It's not really at all the best one, but it's a decent budget one that you can probably pick up for like maybe $50 right now to build, because that's how much I picked. Actually, I picked up mine for like $30 for the entire deck and stuff. Because I got most of mine in my boxes, and I was able to get the rest pretty easily. You should pick it up maybe like 60, I think, somewhere around there for the deck. Don't quote me on that, because I'm just giving an estimate. I haven't really taken a look at the prices, but you can probably pick up the deck there and then use the Legion, not the Legion, but the new Stride support. Maybe you could use the Legion depending if the new Stride support goes with it. And I can't remember the effects off my hand, but this does hit your opponent's hand, so this can't hurt OTT. This can hurt Gear Chronicle. This can hurt any deck, because you can hit their units they need. Like if Aquaforce is holding their cards back, you can hit their cards they may saving for the combo. You can hit the crosses, the dotes, and the cross copies in their hand, in your opponent's hand. You can hit your opponent's Sting Savers and get rid of those, or hit you hit like stuff like that, I guess. Doesn't really work that, but guessing at Narukami and the Maidens, the Neil Nectar stuff, but it's okay. That's pretty much it. As for the Shadow Paladin Legend deck, from what we guess, that would also be probably one of the best ones. That'll probably become a staple. So that'll probably replace Aquaforce, because the cross would still be good. Can probably replace one of these 3 if you guys want to play with the Shadow Paladin there. As for the Link Joker support, as for what came out the trial deck, what we know, that's pretty much will be out at June 19th. Those will be what's out. As for what the information I know that's come out of it, how they lock your own units to get power-ups and unlock them. I wouldn't suggest that one really until they really get something good, because I think from what I remember, the Generation unit that was announced, you won't even have that access to it unless they announce that the release date for TCG will be at the latest be July 18th. I think that's the latest. That's for the continental USA, California, Los Angeles. That's probably would be the best. That would probably, if it comes out and it's really good, I might suggest that. But most likely it'd be Shadow Paladin. Like the top 4 would probably be Thingsaver, the Cross, Aquaforce, Shadow Paladin. Shadow Paladin would probably replace one of these 3, like for sure, because it's like the support looks really good. It probably will, from what I'm from the support, because you also have Abyss, and you can still splash it in there, because it does have blaster support. But I would most likely just play the Diablos together and stuff there, because it actually looks really good. But other than that, I would most likely suggest just running for sure Thingsaver, the Cross, and Aquaforce if you're from May 22nd and beyond, if that's when your team leagues are. These are just my opinions on the deck, looking at what's out, how they're doing in OCG, what I think would be best. There was Genesis support that was announced, I guess, 5k to 2 rear guards for Soul Blasting 3, and then if you have 2 or less Soul Charge 3. So that way you can still have Yggdrasil's effect to go off, and you can get a power boost. So that's pretty nice if you didn't have enough. That's just one thing you could do. That's not too bad. Again, the Mental Police wouldn't be bad. They do have Fighters Collection support, which would be this guy here, which is not bad because His effect is when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, draw a card for each of your hearts. Then if you have a heart with Metalbarg in its card name during the battle, your opponent cannot call a grade 1 or higher from the hand to the Guardian Circle. So if you have like Sin Buster, you would draw 2, and your opponent cannot call grade 1 or higher. So you would still limit the guard, and you would be able to get draw size. That's not too bad. But again, you have that setup, which Aqua Force has the ability to retire a unit for Thavis's effect. And then again, Thingsaver does have Blaster Blade. And again, Dote, the Cross, can retire really, really easily. And then Gear Chronicle sent to deck. So those are pretty much my top choices for decks to use. Just to really clear it up for you guys. These are pretty much my top ones for you. Keep that there because those are those. These are really just my top ones for you. Shadow Paladin would still be good, but let's get this guy because I don't think he would be the best. Pretty much it would be Thingsaver, the Cross, and Savis. Gear Carnival would be good because it does get support and does have that restrictions. And then Maidens wouldn't be too bad. And then Narukami, if I can find where I put it, there we go, would be pretty good. Those are pretty much my best best suggestions from what I know right now on April 4th. So for those who are, just to go over it again, April 18th to May 21st, I suggest Thingsaver, the Cross, Gear Chronicle with OTT, or either using the Coco, probably using the Coco because that's more consistent, a little bit better in my opinion. Maybe D-Police, and what else was there? And Rise, Extreme Boundaries, because Aqua Force would be out, so that'll be the best. And then if your team leagues are from May 22nd to June 18th, I would right away say top 3 right now: Thingsaver, the Cross, Aqua Force. Like those would be your best options, pretty much. Just so consistent, so powerful. Multiple attacks with Aqua Force. Has I retire. Has the Gory Maelstrom for final turn push, which is really good if you can get it off. It's not too hard to get off because you just need that critical trigger and just ride Gory Maelstrom. But if not, you got Lambros right here, just giving you a big whopping power boost and 2 extra attacks at least. What they're restanding. The Cross restanding, retiring, Thingsaver restanding twice, and having the crits, having the new unit. Just one thing for sure, if you're playing Royal Paladins, I've seen so many Royal Paladins who do not even know their card effects. Read your opponent's card effects. Read your own card effects too. Make sure you know your deck before you even go to the tournament. Know every single card because I've seen the new one that came out of BTO2, Cardfight Vanguard Cheat BTO2, whatever it's abbreviated to. The one that's Stride, Cannibalize 2, if your opponent's got 4 or less damage, and you have 5 real guards. Remember, you have to have 5 Royal Paladin real guards, or 5 real guards, and deal damage to them. You have to have that 5, because I'll see so many people who just stride into them and just go, Cannibalize 2, take a damage, when they don't even have any rear guards on the field, and I'll be like, read your effect, dude. And then he'll, it's just the thing. You gotta read your effects. Know your card effects, because, like, if you're someone who plays the Old X and you didn't even know about Root Flare Dragon, because I've seen someone who don't even know the fact that you can use Root Flare Dragon, target the other unit that's not the one with resist, and then still retire the card with resist. That's a way to get past it. Like, if you know your deck well enough, you can deal with most other decks pretty easily. Like, I've seen OCG, like, some people kind of stop playing the Cross because of resist and other deck people know how to play it, but I've seen those Cross players, and they don't know all the ins and outs of the deck set from what I've seen. Even though I'm still learning the deck myself, I've learned stuff that can help you deal with it. And also, one of the reasons I'm also doing this video is to tell you guys, go and playtest other decks. Go and learn how to play them. Go and learn how to deal with them, because you will probably see them at team links. You'll most likely see, for sure, Dote and Thingsaver if you're going to it. You'll most likely see those, because those are really strong, really competitive, and they're really popular clans. I mean, you're going to mostly see those. So you probably see Aqua Force 2 there. So just learn how to play against this deck. Go and test, go and play. Make sure you play against at least every clan a few times so you know how to play, because you will most likely see the clan there. So this is Zetsu now. If I forgot any decks, or you think that maybe another deck would be good that maybe I don't even know about, this is after the support that's come out after April 4th, I probably won't know because I am making this on April 4th. So the support, like the latest support that just got released was Dorant and Claudus from the legendary deck for Shadow Paladin. So I won't know anything about that. So I decided to make this because it's only a couple of weeks till California's before the April 18th and May 21st tournaments come out, so I thought I'd get this up before it's too late. I know it's a little bit too late now, I guess, but I just wanted to put this out to help you guys understand. This is Zetsu signing out. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Have a good day, and thank you for watching this entire video, however long it is, and